Well, hello, hello. I think I'm live. Hope everybody's doing well. Just a couple of minutes early. Got my laptop next to me, so I'll pull this video up. That'll help me keep my hands in the camera. There we go. Looks pretty good. So we're going to do some doodling, and doodling actually takes a while, which is why hopefully it's relaxing. So welcome, welcome. We'll get going here in just another minute. And I'll just share a process. It's not always the process I go through, but it's a process that I've done now a couple of times. And doodling is really infinite in your opportunities, right? Hello, Joni. Welcome, welcome. And I believe it's happy anniversary, if my old brain memory recalls correctly. All right. Hello, Julie. Hello, CJ. My computer clock shows 5 o'clock Central. So we're going to get going. I just didn't want to show the page until we went live. So it takes a while to do doodling. So what I thought I would do is kind of give you a sample page here, and we'll work on kind of the rest of the story on this side. So I'm just going to go ahead and begin. I've got this water-soluble pencil, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of finish drawing this very imperfect edge around. Oh, and this was, I get ahead of the game sometimes, and I use my leftover paint to do backgrounds. So you don't have to have a background, but if you're going to join with me, this would be a quick time to throw on just a couple of colors of paint. Again, look over here. It's all going to be covered up. So depending on what you're working on, it can be a white background. I've just got leftover paint and a stencil. So completely up to you. If you want to do it later, watch me and then do your own later on. Then really all I did is I had leftover blue. I threw some white on there just to give some contrast. And then I had gold and this, I don't even know what you call it, pointed doily, I think, pointed doily stencil here, which I had it over here too, and you can't see it really well. Anyway, that's where I began. So I'm just gonna finish this scallop around my edge. This is a pencil called a Stabilo is the brand. And then the type, because they make a lot of different ones, is called All, A-L-L. I guess I better finish that little swoop and see if I can get 2 humps in there. Okay, so I'm also going to, because this is kind of a big flower, I thought on this side I'd do 2 kind of smaller flowers, and I thought I would do one a little differently. So I'm going to do my circle right here, and then instead of coming all the way to the edge, I'm going to do that little humpty hump, right, the ones that are on the outside like that. Just like that. I'll do one there. And I don't know where I'll do the other one. Maybe off to the side over here, more on the gold. And I will kind of complete this one. So I'm going to run into my hump there. I'll probably run into this guy. And now I can do a full petal. Full petal, and we'll run into that scallop there. Okay, so then I thought we should put a couple of leaves in there. So let's give this guy a leaf. Maybe, I like to go from the point, but I don't have a lot of room, so I'm just going to do 2 little ones for him right there, and maybe a bigger one for this bigger flower. And that's all I'm going to do, because it's going to take us a while. So the next thing I do, gotta move some brushes. You can use wax paper. You can use a paper plate. I use those a lot. And I'll put it right on top of here. I'm going to pour. I'm trying to get rid of this white paint. So I'm just going to pour a good puddle there. Okay. I'm going to take my brush. Oh my gosh, I didn't get water. I will have to eventually jump up and get some water. Gosh darn it. Okay, so this is water soluble. And because I want my colors to be pretty vibrant, I'm going to throw on a base coat of white. I need to move that up just a little bit, don't I? There we go. And I'm running in purposely to my pencil lead because this paint's going to kind of adhere that or fix it so that when I go with my pretty color, I won't get that gray blend. This does not have to be pretty because again, it will be covered up. And you can kind of make adjustments to your pencil lines at this point. Nobody will know what it looked like before. We just got to get something on the paper to doodle on, right? All right, look up. Hello, Amanda. Hello, Lisa. And if anybody else has joined on that I didn't say hello to, I'll catch it after the live because it has scrolled up here that I can't see it anymore. My gosh, can you see I'm in a sweater? Can you believe Memorial Day in our area, in the Nebraska, Omaha metro area, it's rainy and cooler. Grab that lead so I can kind of get it painted in there. Oh, now I'm off camera again. There we go. This is just a little taller than the view of this camera. So again, I'm getting the scallop in there first. I got to finish up this guy. Okay, so now again, let's get the center of the flower. If you don't like the petals, your white paint can kind of readjust them. This one turned out a little small, so I'm going to make him a little bigger. Okay, let's get that leaf. And even if it's imperfect, it is crazy weather. Even if, even the pretty color of paint, and I have no idea yet what I'm going to add, the doodling will cover up so much imperfection as well. So don't sweat it. I'm going to sneeze. So yeah, I've got on a winter sweater on Memorial Day. I've got my next idea of the next free class. It's kind of a fun technique. I don't know what I'll call it yet. I don't know how to describe the technique, but it's easy. It's easy to do. Anything I do in art's easy. I don't have the patience to do like a detailed landscape or a face with all the details, like all the lip lines and all the lines in the eye. I'm kind of an impatient crafter. All right, you guys, chat amongst yourself because, oh, wait. I do have water. Look at that. Never mind. All right, so that's all I need for my white right now. And let's start. We got to add color, and then we can get it dry and doodle. I've got a roll of paper towels. I'm just going to kind of dry my brush. And I know this color because it's got to, it doesn't have to. There are no rules in art, but I'm going to match the scallop on this one. And this paint is about gone, so I'm going to really hope I've got enough. I'm going to be lazy, and sometimes instead of throwing it on a palette, I just put it right straight on my paper. All these are layers that I added over here on the left side. I began by painting the whole thing. This color is a Dina Wakley paint, and it's called Orchid. It's one of my favorites. Oh gosh, silly me, forgot to, now you can see it. And over here on the left, you can see those details. That comes later. That looks a little wet, so I'm just letting it dry for a second. Come back and get that little lump of white. Even just doing this is just so relaxing. We're not trying to paint a masterpiece. Okay, I think I'm going to turn my book, so I need to get my water out of the way. And I'm just checking. I think you can still see it. Yes, all right. I hope everybody's had a nice Memorial Day. If you're, I remember when I worked full time, it was so nice to have that extra day, whether it was to catch up on laundry or to take a little nap, obviously to honor those that have served our country and do serve our country. So if any of you are veterans, thank you for your service. Last weekend, I went with my sister. We went to the city that we were born in, which is about an hour and a half away in Iowa. And we were a family that moved around a lot. I won't give you all the family history, but she and I tracked down many of the houses we grew up in. I don't think we stayed a year in any house. All the schools that we went to. And then we visited the graves of my grandparents and their ancestors, which we had not done this for at least 10 years. So that was nice. And to remember my own ancestry. It's always amazing to me, you know, without these people who I don't even know, I wouldn't be possible, right? Lisa, I'm glad you have nice weather. If there's not snow, I think it's nice weather. And then I'm also somebody, if it's going to be cold, it may as well snow. Okay, look at, I think this is going to make it all the way around. I'm making that hump a little bigger. It just felt a little small. So I've just run it into that one. I'm going to finish this guy. I watched kind of a weird show on Netflix last night and today. I'm going to try to even this one out a little bit too. There we go. Good enough. All right, so I think I'm done with my orchid. Hi, Marilyn. I am going to do a basic doodling. So I'm in my art journal and look at all these pages. I'm so proud of myself that I've done so much in this book. I'm just looking to see if there's anything obvious white. It's all looking pretty good. So I got to get some painted images first, and that needs to be dry, because if you drag a pen through wet paint, you just ruin the pen. I've done that because I'm impatient. All right, I'm going to use the same green just to be consistent, and I'll get these leaves painted. And if it's not quite dry when I get all of these colors on, then we can certainly get out the heat gun. I just know on a video that can be kind of loud, so if I can avoid that, I will. Hey Lynn, hello, welcome. Oh shoot, that's not a leaf. That's a leaf. Remember Crocodile Dundee? That's not a knife. That's a knife. All right, so I'm turning it so I don't drag my sweater into the paint. I've been trying to make myself wear already ruined clothes because I insist on ruining everything every time I think I'll be careful. And I'm not. I find it up on my sleeves. So I don't want to be careful because that will limit kind of maybe when you really get into creative mode. Thanks, Marilyn. I just looked up. Okay, I'm just kind of cleaning off my green, and now it's time to make a decision. So I really didn't like that color of yellow, and it wasn't Dina Wakley. It was this old deco art, trying to use up some old paint. And I don't want it to be too close to my purple, so I'm going to use this. This is Dina Wakley. It's called Rouge. So I'm going to commit to this flower in Rouge. I was a little careful just going around that green because it's probably not completely dry. So I didn't finish telling you guys, I was watching a series, got a piece of dry paint there, on Netflix. Has anybody watched the series called Sirens? It held my interest for most of it, and then the ending was just kind of fizzled. I don't know if they couldn't figure out how to end it, or if I missed the true meaning of the show. I don't know. My page is kind of bouncing on me. So that's the other thing. I mean, sometimes we make it harder on ourselves. It's not even our fault. So my page was bouncing on me, so I just pushed it down. And I found that to be the case sometimes when I work with my canvas. You know, I'm batting and that canvas is bouncing back and forth. So I'll sometimes adjust where I'm laying that. And like this, turning the page so you're not having to be too careful. Definitely need more paint. Okay, you thought so too, CJ? Yeah, I mean, didn't you think it was good up until that point? I mean, it kept my attention. I had to make myself go to bed last night and finish the rest of it today. And then, after that, I watched the documentary on the Tylenol murders. I was going to tell you guys to, use lighter colors so that your doodling shows up, but really even on a darker color, maybe the black isn't as visible, but when you get your white, or, I like a gold pen as well, it ends up being just fine. So I don't think you have to limit your choices. Just go with what feels good for you, whatever color is speaking to you. Okay. Let's clean that paint off and go to the next color. What should be my next color? I think I'm going to go with this. Nope, that's orchid. Let's go with, that's probably too close to my background. Okay, guys. What should I do? Maybe taffy? Let's do taffy. What the heck? Taffy is one of her newer colors, and I really like her new sets. Kind of lost my circle there in the middle. It kind of matches the middle over here, so I always try to balance things or bounce them back and forth so that your eye can see some similarities. And I'll dig out that ugly yellow-orange from this guy. And we'll put it in the middle of one of these flowers at least, maybe both of them, but for sure one of them. Again, just to kind of balance, I don't know if balance is the right word. Does anybody know what an art term would be for that? I agree, CJ. Again, this is not a pretty circle, but I can fix that with the doodling. Okay. Clean off my paint. And let's see, I am using a round brush. This is a number 12, so it's a pretty big tip. It's one of the larger round brushes. And it's working for almost every shape. So I'm gonna put some of this over here on my paper off to the side. Just pick it up. It's not as opaque. It must be what they call like a semi-opaque. And it's just not what I expected. That's fine. So now it's going to match there, and I think I am going to do both of them in this color. Okay, there we go. So that's everything I need to do for my painting, and this is my foundation to start doodling. The most important thing is wherever you start, you want to make sure it's dry. And if you use your heat gun and it's dry, you still want to make sure it's not still warm from the heat gun. I'm just feeling, it's feeling pretty dry. I think I'm going to give it one light hit. So pardon my, look at the difference in that to the doodled one. Isn't that amazing how much detail you can get just from pen work? This is where you want to find something to watch or listen to. And then you're just going to get into if it's relaxing to you, it'll be a happy zone. If it's not relaxing to you, you don't have to do it. And everybody's a little different. So only if it's something fun. It's not Zentangle. You have to be much more careful with a Zentangle. And I've already said that I am not a patient crafter or artist. All right, I'm gonna call that good. We'll let that cool off for a second and I'll show you the first pen. I wanted a bolder tip just to get everything outlined. So I'm looking for there it is. So I've got 2 or 3 of these zig writers. So it's got a nice round bullet tip that's pretty bold. And it's also got a fine tip. And it worked pretty well for me in not beating up when I was drawing with it on my acrylic paint. So I better make sure am I in camera? Yes, I'm in camera. So I'm just going to outline my scallop first. And you're going to see things just start to pop. And again, even this I'm not getting too wrapped up in because there's so much more doodling to come. And if you mess up or don't like it, you can just add more to it. Okay, so then I used the bolder tip and I did a little scallop. Okay, now I have to decide. So I'm going to go ahead and get my petal here so I'm not fighting over top of that. Get this one too. So I think the flower is going underneath the scallop, right? So I'm going to continue, or under, yeah, and then I'm doing a little lacy edge on my scallop. It's like a curtain or something's come in on it. And when I'm doing this, it's very wobbly, because I'm not laying my hand and being real careful, so you can see it on camera, but who cares, right? Okay, I'm just giving all of this paint an extra chance to dry, so now I'm going to go ahead and get my leaf outlined. Very basic shapes. Nothing complicated, nothing that takes a lot of concentration. And by doing this little lacy scallop, it just gives all that paint a little bit more time to dry. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is to pour some black. See if I can put on this piece where I had a bunch of white. This is also real cheapy. I buy the nice expensive paints for my colors, but for my whites and my blacks, I use so much of it, I need more black, that I don't mind at all using the lesser expensive. So I'm gonna paint my humps now, and I want to finish this guy, and then I'm just gonna paint a little hump in there that I can fancy up later. And you could use a pen, but man, that would be so much coloring. So I'm adding my black accent with paint. Time to turn my page. Whoops, sorry, I think I just, oh, I guess maybe I didn't bump the camera. I just bumped my little lamp. So, any of you watching, do you currently doodle? Do you have a favorite shape or little addition that you like to put on? Okay, I need to turn again. Okay, gotta come from this guy. He's continuing over to the page. All right, so there's our scallop. And black is always hard to clean off the brush, so give me just a minute. Excuse me. I find it relaxing, and you know, I never know what I'm gonna do, but the ideas come. You just gotta start, right? Just gotta start. I'm gonna take a little drink of my soda because that's wet and I know I'll drag that right in. And then I'm gonna go finish outlining these guys. Again, with the same zig. You can use a Sharpie marker. Sharpies seem to be a little finicky to me if it's slightly damp, and this guy seemed to be a little bit more forgiving. Whoops, hit the edge of that where I'd stenciled in gold. That's okay. Posca pens, the paint pens work well. I just don't have a good one right now in stock that's in a bold tip. All right, and now I gotta do this guy. I gotta turn my page again. Pardon me, I gotta kind of twist my hand. I did a little different flower here just to give it some interest, variety. Okay, so now everything has been outlined. Now it's time to start adding inside doodles, and then we can do the outside. So I'm going to start with putting a line here, so it's not exactly in the center. We'll come back with smaller tip. I'm just getting some basic ideas, and then we'll do this one right smack dab in the middle. Again, variety. And we'll put a couple there and maybe an opposite one there. So then we can come back and add a second line. Whoops. And then we can start getting fancy after we get these kind of framed up. Okay, so let's do the other leaf. I kind of like this one that I did, so let's try that. We're going to go from the point to the point. We'll do that again, from the point to the point. And then I think I'll do it one more time. And there's a lot of decoration we can do on that. All right, so what are we going to do? One of my favorites on the inside is to do a crosshatch. Okay, I'm going to have to bring my hand into the camera. Isn't that fun and happy? All right, so now I want room to add some more designs. So I'm trying to think what I want to do with this guy. I'm just going to be real similar to the one across the way and just do my inside circles. So I have to, oops, that's still, I just got some black and it's fine, but I just don't want to drag it to my other colors. All right, so this I'm gonna have to stop at the scallop. So I just have to imagine and then place a stop there. Same thing here. And this one too. I mean, we might be able to take the tip and back down. Okay, so now what to do with this guy? I think we'll work from the inside out. So I think it would be fun to do a little scallop around the center. And this is another one of my favorites. I start here, just keep coming around and coming around to a little point there. All right. So now I'm going to have to move to a different pen here pretty soon. I'm just trying to get all of the bold items that we want. Finishing that up. Let's see. One of my favorites is to do circles. Actually, I'll make them black. So you can just sit and watch a show or listen to a show, or music if you like to listen to music, and then just do what comes to mind. And the fun part too is you come back and you add some white. Thanks, Chris. Joni, I think so too. It's just amazing what just a little bit of doodling can do to your images. That's why you want to paint. You want to start with a real basic shape because you need room to work inside them. It kind of takes all the pressure off, right? All right, I'm going to turn, right? Because I'm a lefty, I would be dragging my hand into the wet pen. And that's looking pretty dry now. The other thing I do is I try not to line them up with each other. So I'm going to go down here. Try to come in between these two a little bit. This is a really nice pen. Every pen works a little differently. You just kind of got to try them and get to know them. All right, so there's my dots. They're happy, aren't they? All right, so let's do something with this guy. And I do like a good checkerboard, which isn't very impressive yet. But when you start coloring them in black and white, this is bouncing on me, so I'm going to press down. Then they start to pop. I'm just going to copy this one over there because it worked out fine. So now I'm going to do my triangles. And then I'm just going to start coloring in every other one. So see, even if the drawing isn't exact, when you go to color in, you can clean up a lot. All right, so I'm going to start here. See how I'm kind of cleaning up my edge? Don't be afraid to turn your page. Thank you, Valerie. I do kind of like that this would be connected, so I'm going to do the same down there. If you do make a page of doodles, please post it so we can all share in your art. All right, so if I wanted to do a scallop around the edge, it would be fine to do that, but I would want a finer tip pen. I still don't know what I want to do with this guy. Here's what I think I'll do. It just came to me. Just going to go like that. I already don't like it, but that's okay. We can make it cute. Okay, so let's see. What do I want to do? I think I'm going to do my edges like that, the checkerboard. It's already cuter, isn't it? It just shows the imperfection of the humps there. That'll be fine. And again, I almost want to fix it, but I'll fix it when I color them in. All right, let's do some coloring. So then the other thing to fix these, you can put like joining circles at each of the points. And that just kind of camouflages the imperfection. Okay, and while I have this here, I'll start the coloring process. You just make it up as you go. So see, I didn't like it to begin with, but if you just keep adding, it usually turns out okay. I mean, how can you go wrong with just doodling? So don't be too hard on yourselves. Don't stress yourself out. That's not what this is about. And if it's not your thing, that's fine. There's a lot of different ways to be creative. All right, so there's that. I think I need to turn a little air on in my room. Give me just a second, pardon me. I want to look up and see if you guys are talking. See how everybody's doing. So we've got a lot of the black here. I'm going to add some black up here, and then we're going to move to a white pen. Okay? And when I do my white, I'll start doing my details here on my scalloped edge too. Okay, so let's come up to these leaves. And look and see how everybody's doing. I want to do my cross hatch. So I'm just going to color in every other one on my middle before I move to my leaves. Why? Because I thought of it. And I moved away a little bit so when I get closer. Because if I don't, you can't hear me as well. Okay. Well, that doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, I think that's just a little bit, there we go. A little bit of my yellow was showing through, but it was just the outline wasn't quite perfect. All right, so let's do the same thing here. Add some bold. All right. And then I like to just do a couple of big dots. And I don't know why, but I don't like even numbers, so I threw 3 in there. Well, I'm glad you're doodling along with me, Julie. It is not fast. It is not. I did this last night when I was watching that mini series, and I thought I'm not going to be able to show you everything, but we'll get a lot of it done. I'm going to go ahead and just color these guys in. Okay, now I need to move pens. This is about everything I can do with the bold tip. So let's move to some white, and then we'll come back with some fine tips as well. All right, so the easy thing to do, I don't know if that's the white one I want. Give me just a second. Always want to shake up, if it's a paint pen, get that paint mixed back up so you have as strong of opacity, which is the covering, as you can get. And I always kind of test it a little bit. So when I'm working with a bigger area, I like a bigger tip so that I can cover more ground in a faster period. And this is kind of tiny, and sometimes I'm actually coloring right over the black, but nobody knows where I started, just where I finish. While I got it at this angle, I'm going to go ahead and get my leaves. I'm going to come back with more details, so I'll clean this up. But just the contrast of the white and the black adds so much, I think. We want to leave some green so we know that it was a leaf. Okay, so there's that. And again, I'll come clean that up. So I'm going to go ahead and take my, so I'm going to bring it up so you can see. I'm going to take my white pen, and this normally takes 2 coats. It just looks kind of gray over top of that black. We'll get that first coat on and drying. And while I'm there, I'm going to go ahead and take my dotted dash. That's another great one to use your stitch. My page is bouncing on me, so I'm just going to push it down, show it who's boss. I took a class, oh gosh, it's been so long ago that I think it might have even been during COVID. And it had to do with drawing. And the one thing that I have remembered over the last 5 years or so is the value of different pens with different points, right? Different thicknesses, that you can get a lot of detail just by changing the pen we use. A bold tip or a fine tip. Okay, so we've got the beginning of our little scallop to match up. What newer Sharpie markers are you talking about, Lynn? I do love Posca pens. I'm having a hard time, you guys. I can buy a brand new 1M, and it doesn't matter how long I shake it. Brand new. It's just milky. Yeah, I can't get an opaque, solid, white, boom kind of a finish. I can on the 3Ms or 5Ms, whatever that guy is, but I have a hard time. So the Sharpies that are paint pens, or the Sharpies that are kind of your regular permanent Sharpie? Oh, you said paint markers. Okay, yeah, I like those too. I was trying to find the more extra fine Sharpies, and I could only find those in oil, and my oil did not work well at all. Brand new, I either ruined it or it wasn't good to begin with. So I'm gonna take another drink. Okay, so let's do some more white, but I think I'm out of areas that I can do bold. So I'm gonna get a finer tip. See what I got here. I think I'm gonna have to use this. I wonder, this is an old Jane Davenport, which I love now, and of course you can't order it anymore. It's just kind of almost like a dauber. Just set it down and it makes a great circle. And look how much more bold in the white that one is. And I didn't even shake it up. Looks like I'm working so hard and all I'm doing is laying that pen down. I am going to turn my page. But isn't that something, what, white and black? You just get that white on there and it starts to really brighten things up. Right? I wonder if I can do that on the centers here. Sure I can. All right, so then the other thing I've done is I've connected all of my points . Did I miss any? I have to do those too. All right, so there's that. Looking where else I can add some white. I'm going to do it right in the center of these guys because they're nice big circles. Now I'm going to do an outline here on both sides. Okay. And this is pretty good. I will probably go back, but I will do it on my own time. See how I can just get it a little bolder with a second coat after that's dried. So let's take our next. I've got some pretty gold pens. And I'm done with my air conditioning. Turn that off. All right, and again, I did my stitching. So a lace or a stitch is a nice finishing for edges. And gold takes a little longer to dry, so I know I have to turn my page or risk dragging my hand right into it. And again, my page is bouncing up on me, so I'm just going to press down. Put one little dash there. And I go a little slower on my own. I just want to keep this moving so I can show you as much as I can think of. So it's a little bit more relaxed pace, right? All right, let's do some other things before we get into more details. And I'm going to go back to the zig and the same point because I want it to be consistent. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go throw some circles in. I may color some in. I want them to be a variety of sizes. So I just started to fill in my background. I don't have any big plan. I want big, small, medium sized. Because we can doodle in these then. And if you don't like this particular effect, you don't have to do it. You can let your background just be what it is. Don't want any particular pattern, just random. That's probably enough for me. They do need priming, Julie. Just shake them up, but don't prime too hard because if I press down, lots of times I'll get a puddle of ink, and then I'm so cheap I'll just keep picking up that puddle with the tip and keep painting with that till it's dried up and gone. All right, so then I did a variety of things to these. I colored a few of them in. I did spirals on a few of them. I like messy cross hatches. I think most of the smaller ones I did that. Something about these that they just need to go outside the line for them to show up. Let's do another spiral. Color all these guys in. And I can make them a little bit better circles than when I threw them on the page. All right, so this one, I did another design. Let's see what I did. I gotta remember what I did. Where is one? Here it is. So I just did a circle in the center. And I did dots around my edge. And we'll come back and decorate these a little bit more. I'll make that in a spiral. Make that in a crosshatch. Another spiral. That one's perfect for a spiral. So that's how I build my background. And you can go ahead and add, you can add gold, you can add white. I had some colored gel pens that I added some color in there because I only had one yellow flower. I just felt like this needed more color in the background. Once I've got those basic shapes, then I can take my gold And I can just add some sparkle dots. Remember, the gold takes a little longer to dry. And you see there where it started bouncing on me? So I just press my page down a little bit more, depending on what you're working on. All right. So we've got the beginning. You can kind of see that it's starting to all build together. Let me show you my all-time favorite, the black glaze pen. And this really cleans things up and makes it look so sharp, and it dries with a nice raised edge, like we were so fancy. I'm going to take my glaze pen and outline. And I wish you could see it. If you have a glazed pen, dig it out. You'll love it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my whole pen along this edge. And do the same thing on this edge. I'm going to crisp up my triangles now. I hope this is showing on camera how much crisper. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to see if I can see it. If I can kind of get the light to show you the raised edge. Can you see that? Yeah, you can pretty well. Hey, thanks, Dawn. So I highly recommend the glaze pens. So again, I'm just outlining my edges here. This pen definitely takes a little longer to dry, but the effect is so worth it. Let's see, I'm trying to think how to move my pen without dragging my hand. Look at that. Ooh la la. All right, so now this is dry. To get even fancier, I can go into the white and put little sparkles in there of black. Let's see. So again, I'm not using a lot of different shapes, but I'm using different sizes of the same shape. And it looks like it's been a lot of work, but it's really just using different tools to do the same thing. Yeah, I don't remember them, Lynn, being not so fine, but I sure love them. I sure do. All right, let's clean these up with a raised edge. How have you done with the white glaze pen? Because I've not had a great amount of luck. And I don't know if the ones I have are old and I should just order some new ones. But this just makes that look so fancy. And I'll do the rest of these on my own time. Oh, but look, I missed a dot right there. I got to find my, I think I was using that Jane Davenport. Let's see. There it is. Did I miss any others? Do not think so. Right, that's going to have to dry before I put my glaze pen around it. All right, so then the other thing I did, I need back to my zig, but the fine tip. So along my stitch, I put an even finer stitch in the middle of that white. So see what a fine tip pen can do? All right, turn the book to go around each one of these little humps. Just putting a little dash right inside the stitch. Any feedback on the white glaze pen? Any of you guys got any experience? Because the black is superb. Excuse me. Are they worth me trying to buy a new set? All right, so now while I have this fine tip pen, the other thing that's nice, press down here. Is my hand in the camera? Yes, okay. So I'm going to do a stitch along the outside of my leaf. Isn't that fun? And let's see. I think I want to add, now that these are dry, I'm going to go back to my white and start adding some details into the background. Again, I'm not done with these, but if I don't have an idea of what to do, I just keep moving on until I'm inspired. So there's that. I need a finer tip. I'm going to put a little white dot right in the middle of these. And it's like, yeah, I have too bold of a pen here, so I'm going to make hay with these while I've got it. And then one thing I did do on the crosshatch ones is I put big dots around them outside. Kind of brightened it all up. Little around these, because it's a little area. So I'm just kind of lightly daubing my tips. Again, this is that Jane Davenport that you can't get anymore. But I love it. If I knew I loved it, I would have bought up. See how it's starting to feel cohesive? Now we've got a little bit of detail happening. Okay. So let's just sit back and look at this. What I see the next thing I want to do is take my glaze pen up here and clean all this up for that guy. So let's do that. Thanks, CJ. This one's almost gone. I'm going to try to use this up. I got 2 new ones in the mail today. Perfect timing. I went kind of light on my glaze over here, so I'd make sure in case my order didn't get here that I could have enough to work with that glaze pen. Oh, I said I would do that on my own time. I'm supposed to be working up here. Oh, squirrel. All right. So here I come around my edge. Let's outline these pretty dots. We'll come around the outside. Well, let's get that dot. Okay, now come around the outside. I copy myself too, Julie. Sometimes I don't have ideas. But I find if I just do the next thing that I think of, usually something will come to me. Get those little circles. I'm going to do our outside edges. And that's something what it does to it. It just dresses it up so nicely. Yes, Sakura Jelly Roll Glaze. Highly, highly, highly recommend. And they work so well over top of paint, which I'm very impressed. I'm going to press down, come on around. Whoops, just gave that a little hump. Sometimes when I get off on that line, there was like a little ridge of paint. So you kind of want to be careful when you're painting to see if you can get a smooth line. I mean, nothing's perfect, right? I don't think I've made a perfect project yet. Okay, so because this is a fine tip, the other thing you can do, I showed you the stitch. You can also come around here and add a lacy edge on your petals. You don't have to do it around every petal, but you can. Like I was going to say I didn't do that on the other page, but I did. All right. But that can help disguise any imperfections on the outline. I just think it adds a little something. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad you can zoom in. All right, what should we do next? Let's see, have I done everything here? Oh, I got to do my gold dots along there. Let's do that. Let's get out the gold again. Gives this up here a chance to dry. That's kind of why I move around. So we're going to do gold dots along our white outline. And I'm off camera. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, yay. Again, it just helps kind of add a layer so any imperfection isn't as obvious. And normally you wouldn't have to be trying to match up a page. It was just the way I came up with to keep it, under a 4-hour video and still get to see all the goodness. That definitely needs to dry for a minute. So let's see, I think, let's lift up my arm. I'm going to do some gold dots. I don't know if they're going to show up on that yellow, though. That wasn't very smart. Maybe it will. We'll see. All right, let's get out my glaze pen again, and let's do the stitched around the, oh, I just laid that in. Can you see the gold on my hand now? Oh, well. All right, I think this is all dry over here, so I can lay my hand down. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and take a real tight line along here. Colored in with my glaze, so I've got that raised edge on this whole inside. See how that kind of brightens it up, bolds it up? Hello, Cheryl. Okay, let's see if I can get that one of those. It helps you straighten up some lines if they were a little imperfect. I'm going to this one over here because I have to turn the page to get to the other one. That's gonna have to dry because it was kind of digging into that red. So if I let that dry, I can come on, put another coat, and I should get a little bit bolder. All right, let's see if I can do it from this angle. Okay, and then we can do another layer in here. That's got to get dry, but we can add. So I need to find a nice white fine tip. And this is about all I've got, so wish me luck. And let's see if we can color in this little loop-de-loop. Yeah, it's showing up. If I were doing this on my own, I'd probably take a restroom break, get a snack, and come back and let all of this dry a little bit. So don't feel like you have to rush yourself. You know, if your ink's wet, step away for a minute. Okay. So I'm turning it right side up just to bring my head up and take a look and see where we're at. Thank you, Carla. Welcome. All right, so this pen is good. Look at all my wet. So let's take a stitch inside that black that we just did. Yeah, I like that. Bringing it out a little bit more. Sometimes it's hard to do a nice crisp line because the paint is real slippery, so your Posca pen kind of slides along that edge. Did I get them all? I think I did. All right, I'm gonna get that bold zig. That's my fine tip. I'll use that in just a minute. But I want to bold this center up again. I was kind of getting lost. Okay. All right. So now I've got this fine tip. I'm gonna take where I did that white and outline it so we can see. And I think it's time for my glaze pen. Just clean up my edges, just color in where that white overlapped it. See how that just crisps everything up? Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and outline these circles with my glaze. I'm going to come back around, see what's missing. Where's that good white pen? Here it is. All right, so what can I do with white? So I did the black on the white here. I could do white on the black over here. Okay. Time for my glaze pen again. I'm going to clean up this little lacy edge. I didn't like how the gold didn't show up, so I'm going to outline those in the black, and hopefully they'll show up a little better. Looks like I got some paint. I need to clean off my pen. Okay, yeah, that's better. All right, so I will turn it right side up again. With my white, you can come back around here where I did that little lace. Color all that in. You see how it just goes on and on? You just start with a basic shape and just keep adding to it. I'm very pleased with how this Posca 1M is working. See how this stands out compared to these? See the difference it makes? All right, ladies, I'm coming up on needing to wrap up. I've got about 2 minutes and then I need to stop the video. This is a live on Facebook. This video itself will stay for 30 days. So you'll see it twice because later on tonight I will download this live video and then I'll re-upload it into the same exact group, and I'll say hopefully final version, because from what I understand on Facebook, if I've downloaded it and re-upload it, those will not be taken off of the page. Only the ones that we were live. So that one will stay at this point, based on current Facebook rules, it'll stay forever. The other thing that I'm doing is, just to be safe and not to have to go backtrack, I'm uploading it onto a YouTube page. And so if you scroll this page, you should be able to find my link to find the YouTube page. And then all these videos will be there as well. So I might do some finishing touches on my own time, but if you want to take a screenshot, but this will be here. So if you want ideas, again, these are just the ideas I had at the time. But you want a doodle idea, that's absolutely fine. I don't think I have an original idea myself. So You know, I'm thinking I might take another scallop around here. I don't know. I might put some white little sparkles along here. Definitely need to finish coloring in my little scallops. And then this, I added color with, I have some gel pens, right? So I might add some color over here in some different spots, just so that I'm consistent. Another fun one I just saw this here is just to take your pens and just do dashes. So feel free to copy and then add your own spice, anything that comes to mind, and post if you've got a nice doodle you want to share with us. We'd love to see it. I already have an idea of my next class. I need to do an example page somewhere, and I'll get that up here in the next probably half a week to a week. And thank you so much for taking some time today. And if you're on replay, thanks for joining me in any way you can. Any questions before I jump off? You are welcome, Julie. It's my pleasure. All right. If you do have questions later on, just post them here. I'll see them. I'll come back and answer. Excellent, Julie. All right. I'm going to stand up and power this baby down, and you guys have a great rest of your day or evening. We'll see you again soon. Bye.